Hello, this is Mr. Heath, and this is the answer video from the quiz that we did today, 11/14/2018. All right, this is going to be for the students that are in the Tritons, okay, the challenge we have. We are finding the quotient of 8 and 4, the quotient of 4 and 8, the quotient of 1 and 8, the quotient of 3/4 and 1/2, the quotient of 2/5 and 7. For us people that use quotient a lot, just read dividing. So 8 divided by 4, 4 divided by 8, and so on. All right, so let's go ahead and grab the paper I'm going to use for this. All right, so here we go. For the first one here, we have the quotient of 8 and 4. The number that's always at the bottom, that number in the denominator spot is always going to divide into the number on top of the numerator spot. With my students, I say do the Tiger Woods and go ahead and do a wind up, okay? We'll just wind it up there, go into that. So you notice here how many sets of 4 are there in 8? There are 2. That is our answer. So we move on to the next fraction, a little more complicated because we get a decimal quotient. And so this is where students get nervous. A lot of times they want to do what I call winding down, and we divide the numerator into the denominator, where we are looking at dividing the denominator into the numerator. So let's do a little Tiger Woods. We find out that there are no sets of 8 and 4, so we have to introduce a decimal point. Okay, decimal point doesn't really change anything, except for the fact it lets me know that whatever my quotient is going to be less than 1. So I need a 0 as a placeholder. I go over here. Well, how many sets of 8 are there in 40? There are 5. That's my answer, 5/10. Let's look at another decimal challenge. This one here is another one that can make students quite nervous. I'm not dividing 1 into the 8. Remember, I'm doing the old Tiger Woods. And winding up, I'm doing the 8 into the 1. So we go over how many sets of 8 are there in 1. Obviously, there are none. So I'm going to place a decimal point there. Just remind me that whatever number it is going to be less than a whole number. I need to get some digits in here. So I'm going to use the 0 as a placeholder. How many sets of 8 are there in 10? There are 1. And I find the difference of 10 and 8, which is 2. How many sets of 8 are there in 2? There are none. So I need another 0. I bring that down. How many sets of 8 are there in 20? Well, there are 2 sets of 8 that are in 20. That's 16. The difference of 20 and 16 is going to be 4. Well, how many sets of 8 are there in 4? There are none. So I bring down another 0. Now, how many sets of 8 are there in 40? There are 5. Final answer, 1n was at 2500. So we move from that, we move to working with fraction numbers and finding fraction quotient. You could turn these fraction numbers into decimals, but I want them to stay in fractions. So we go here, we have the quotient of 3/4 and 1/2. Notice what happens here, I have the 3/4 is the same as up here, but the 1/2 turns into 2/1. And the reason why is because I applied the reciprocal strategy. And that just means that instead of dividing, we're going to multiply to find the amount of sets. So multiplication symbol of that. Notice how I did the equivalent or apply the reciprocal strategy, which is 2/1 now as opposed to 1/2. Remember, if you're nervous by multiplying 3/4 times 2/1, combine the whole fraction bar, that's 2 times 3. That's fine. Which gives you 6 and 4 sets of 1 is going to be 4. So we go over here, 6/4. Going to simplify that, okay, like like our paycheck numbers. Is that our paycheck numbers? I have a common factor, and they can make factor circles to figure this out, but common factor 2. So let me set the 2 other than 3, excuse me, 6 and 3. Let me set the 2 other than 4, there are 2. Final answer, well, move to the final answer is 2. That's an improper fraction. Doing that, you guessed it, the old Tiger Woods one. How many sets of 2 are there in 3? There are one set of, just one whole set of 2 that can be in 3. How many pieces of the 2 are left over? There are 1. So 1 and 1/2. All right, let's take a look at the last challenge. The last challenge here is 2/5 divided by 7. All right, recognizing that we don't have anything underneath that 7, let's see it like this. 7/1. All right, I don't have a writing instrument. Where am I going here? So, this is a 7. Well, I can turn that 7 into a fraction by just putting a 1 underneath there. Does that change anything? Not really. Let's do a wind up here. How many sets of 1 are there in 7? 7. So you see how naturally it's fine, it turns into its own self or whatever. So that's what we're going to use here. So we have 7 over 1. I'm going to apply the reciprocal strategy here. And notice, moving away from 7 over 1, remember applying reciprocal strategy, changing from division multiplication, I now have 1 over 7. Nervous about multiplying 2/5 by 1/7? Remember, extend out the fraction bar across, just like that. 2 sets of 1, 2. 5 sets of 7, 35. Final answer, 2 over 35. So those are the answers for the assessment. I'm going to try to put links where you can actually get these documents and print them if you need to. But that's it. All right, take care.